There you go. So, welcome to our practice session. And tonight we are looking at how we approach our kind of transformational coaching sessions. Because I know that a lot of what we focus on is the interventions and getting really good at the interventions and making sure that we know how to do a timeline or a path intervention or a perceptual positions or whatever that might be. And yet, when we actually sort of sit down in front of a stranger, we feel overwhelmed by everything that they suddenly just throw at us, or we're not sure where to start. So in the timeline therapy course that we just did at the other weekend, there is a kind of a set down process on page 28 of the manual. I'll drop it into the chat for those of you that don't have it. And what I would say is it's a great guideline, but we don't have to do anything that we're told. Obviously, we can do it however we want. And I think that's half the issue when you're starting out, is that we're very much kind of like, would do whatever works with your approach. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you want to do an intake over the phone and you want to do, a 15-minute chemistry call before you have a free discovery call, or if you don't want to do free discovery calls, that's okay. Do you do a 3-hour discovery call? How do you guys like to do it? So those of you that are doing it, how did you come to your kind of approach? Obviously, I have my approach. There's the timeline therapy approach. How do you guys approach your sessions? So let's say somebody emails you and says, somebody's given me your number. I'm really interested in working on some addiction issues that I've got. How do you approach it? What's your strategy? Go for it. Free for all. What do you do? Put it in the chat maybe as well, so we can be reading at the same time. What do you do? Because I know
scenario. I always remember what you said when we were doing all of the master prac training, that whatever a client says is just symptomatic of what is actually going on. So I would still, even though they've said that, they want to address their addiction issues, I would still have a discovery session just to get more background, to understand what purpose the addiction is serving. And I try to find out, what it is the client has in their mind and how they want to approach this, and then obviously the outcome, how they would see success. And
what are they hoping to
sorry?
What are they hoping to achieve ultimately?
Exactly. And then generally after the first session, I mean, from the discovery session, I would write a bespoke program for each of my clients.
How long is your discovery session?
Depends.
Free?
Yeah. It's always free. I set out to be 45 minutes, but often it's longer because it's just, an informative chat, and it's building the rapport and the trust.
Yeah.
Which I think is important, depending on obviously how deep the issues are that you're dealing with. So I'll write the program, I'll send it over to them to kind of tell them what the techniques are going to be, what the outcomes are with all of the prices. Often by session 2, maybe even 3, the direction changes, because then I've got to the root cause.
Yes, good. Okay, yeah.
So I set it out and I make it very clear what approach I'm going to use, an expert.
Wow.
So that they actually get used to the technique and me as a coach, and speaking openly with me.
Do you leave it open how many sessions, or do they have to book up front? Do you say it's going to be 6 sessions?
Yeah, depending on what's going on. Generally it's minimum 6 sessions. Usually it's 10 to 12 sessions. And like you, I'd offer a payment plan. So that that it makes it more affordable, because again, one of the things you've always taught us is don't let money be the issue. So I try to work with each client as to understand what they can afford, and how this is going to be seen as an investment in themselves.
How long are your sessions?
Again, depending on what technique we're doing, it can be 60 to 90 minutes
And do you charge by the hour or by the session?
by the session. So they do feel that they're getting value for money
Sure.
because obviously if they have a longer session, the price is still the same. I don't kind of, I'm not clock watching, put it that way.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, good. All right, so that's a nice one. I love the putting the sessions together in terms of like a a 10 to 12 session package. I think that's nice because it's kind of it's more certain for you
Mhm.
as well, so you know it's coming. Um, Lots of reasons to do that. Uh, I think I have to say that the how long does it take you to write out what they're going to do, like what their journey looks like?
Just it generally only takes me a couple of hours in an evening. When I've actually got a feel for somebody and knowing all the techniques that we use, I find
Okay,
it really easy to write a program. I really do. Because I
but
get right into it. Do you know what I mean?
they committed at this point.
Sorry?
They committed at that point.
I've not had a client that hasn't accepted the program from the discovery call.
Okay, I was gonna say because that 2 hours, if that was speculative, that would I would say try and get that down. Like look at your like what's the bare minimum that you can do to get them to sign up to something. Do you know what I mean? Because I
Mm-mm.
think 2 hours, if you're going to sell a 12 session program is fine. Because then it's kind of it's not too bad. It's like doing a quotation for something. But I think if it was any less than that, if it was only 3 sessions, that 2 hours is quite a lot.
No, for the shorter sessions, that's very kind of direct and to the point. So, for example, with the executive coaching, if people just want to progress their career, that would be like a 4 to 6 session course because it's not that deep. But if
Spend 2 hours writing their journey as well.
no, that's just like a cookie cutter model.
That's fine. Just wanted to jump in there. 'Cause the reason I'm saying that, Susan, is 'cause other people might be thinking, shit, I've got like 2 hours of,
No. It's
program.
easy when you actually have a really good discovery session and you do connect with the person and you get an idea of, what's going on for
Yeah.
them and
If you
what the
go into
priorities are. It's a simple and knowing everything that we do that you've taught us, it sounds a lot, but it's really not.
No, I'm obviously I'm happy for you to do it. It sounds great. I'm just all I know is that when I've had lots of clients, like, a lot, the things I used to do had to shift because there was no time to sit around down
Exactly.
and do that. So I had to get very much to the point of getting the agreement at the end of the discovery call, like we're doing this or not type of thing. Would you like to
Mm.
book and book the first session? Because I didn't want any admin. Like I didn't
Mm.
want any admin at all because it was just never going to get done, or I'd have too many people in my head when I'd sit down. But no, yeah. So I just kind of putting it out there as you don't have to do that. It's great
Mhm.
if you, I think it's really good practice. I think I tend to do that in the discovery session now, is I get the 3 or 4 main things that we're going to work on, tell them that we're going to work on them, that each one will take this many sessions and get it in sort of a rough, ambiguous agreement. But obviously
Mhm.
there's drawbacks to the ambiguity. So yeah. So just to point out that there's loads of different ways to do whatever it is that you want to do. If it doesn't work, just change it. Yeah. So there's like getting loads of ideas of how to do this from other people is great, but if it doesn't work for you, do it your way. Nobody's gonna, there's no NLP SWAT team. Just remember that. Like you do whatever you want. It'll either work for you or it won't. So there are just some sensible things to do, and then it's up to you. So you might just have a 15-minute chemistry call on the phone. I don't. It's easier for me to just book people in for the 3:45 across the board. That is easier than having a chemistry call that invariably overruns, and then they get, and so essentially they're having that call, but they're not actually doing, I'm not doing what I want to do in that call. We're just chatting. So I just book them straight into the session. And in that session, that 3:45 minute session, I am eliciting everything that's wrong, everything that they want, and asking enough deeper questions that I feel like I can get to the root cause quite quickly. Like where are we headed with this? What are we doing with this? What's this about? Where is this from? A bit about the childhood, some personal history questions, because I just want to know what the patterns are. Once I've got the patterns, I know what we're going to do to resolve them. But what you do in that session is completely up to you, and you'll get faster at it as you get more experienced. So does everybody feel like they would have some sort of discovery session at the beginning? Yeah. How many of you charge for the discovery? Or you don't do any sort of freebies other than maybe a chemistry call? It's fine either way. I'm just inquiring.
I'm not doing it yet, but I wouldn't plan to charge for the discovery. Anyway, I'd make it about 45 minutes free.
And the reason being, so anybody who tells you that you should charge for everything, what I would say is, that is your sales opportunity that somebody has signed up for. So you decide how long you think it's going to take you to sell something, and then you offer that bit for free as a session, which is why I don't do the chemistry call. Because the chemistry call is just chatting. I don't know what you want. I've still got to ask those questions, but there's a free demo I did of my 45-minute discovery session where you can kind of see what I do. But I essentially treat as if we're starting, because I want to know everything that's wrong so that I can tell you why it's worth working with me. So if you knew the electrician wasn't going to charge you, and I'm using this one again, John, if you knew the electrician wasn't going to wasn't going to tell you, was going to charge you to tell you what needs doing, you probably just wouldn't invite them over. But if they said, yeah, I'll come over and I'll have a look and I'll see if I can give you some advice, and there's no obligation to work with me, but I'll come and have a good look and I'll see what I can do to help you. If there's anything I can fix on the dot, I'll do it, obviously, because I'm there. But if there's other more structural work to do, I'll put out a quote and you can decide whether you want kind of all of it done or some of it done. It's up to you. And you're like, oh, that sounds amazing. Gosh, wow. And if they came over and they said, oh, you see that socket over there? Let me just fix that for you because that's not working. Wow. Oh, God. Wow. Okay. He seems to know what he's doing and he's really nice. And, and then he said, look, and then if he told you that you needed a big, a full rewire, you'd be slightly more inclined to listen because he's actually just fixed something for free while he was there. You know what I mean? And it's, and he said, oh, so, tell me what's been going on. And the idea that this person comes to help you and seems generous and gets to know all about all the issues. Brilliant. Okay, well, no pressure, but I think this is probably what we should do about that. You can do it in your own time because obviously, we can budget, and you just want somebody to come and take it in hand and feel like they've got you. And it's like, yeah, it's okay. They understand everything. They're not doing a sales pitch. You're just showing them how stuff isn't working and they're making a plan of how to fix it. I think that's why I don't charge for that bit. Because the other thing is, if they can't afford you or they decide, I don't know if it's for me, they've still had a wonderful experience with you and they'll go and tell everybody else that you're brilliant, that you've lost nothing and actually gained often a super fan, or somebody will go and, market you for you. The discovery session for me, I think is just like really important. Shall we, Juliana?
I was just going to say, when they book it, do you send them anything for them to think about, any of these questions for them to think about beforehand, or you just all the questions and there is no preparation? Everything comes during the call.
For me, it's during. And again, there's loads of different approaches to this. I used to send out questionnaires and I'd get these sort of, like barely there answers, or I'd get the answers and then it would change by the time they got to me. My demographic, the people that I work with, don't have very much time. So I've learnt, and again, this matters too, who you're working with. Because I work with people that just don't have the time. So if I ask too much of them before the session, they might think, oh shit, I haven't done it, I'll cancel. Like, I'm not ready. So I'm kind of like, no, it's all in the session. There's no homework. There's just show up. I'll take care of it from there. And because they're busy and often running companies, they do not want to do homework. They don't want to be shamed for not having done it or worried they haven't done it. They just don't want to think. They just want to come see me, sit in front of me, and then go. And that's it. So you might have people who feel more reassured if there's paperwork and there's questions to ask. And if somebody's not very articulate, you know, if you're working with people that really struggle to express themselves or aren't very emotionally intelligent, they may need some help thinking about things to make the most of the session. I tend to work with people that have no problem telling me what's wrong, and and they're very expressive, they're very open, and they just like, right, here's what's going on, I need it done. So for me, I don't send anything anymore. I'm just like, yeah, cool. So very loosey-goosey, as we have discussed earlier. That can bite you in the arse if you're too loosey-goosey. Juliana, what was the question? Sorry.
Sorry, another one. During this discovery session, do you only do discovery, or do you do any intervention as well towards the end to show how it would actually be a session?
If somebody wasn't sure about NLP, I'm so in my niche now that I don't really have these issues anymore. But I think if in the past I would do, if I can, what I tend to do, because this is why I used to do the 45-minute session. In lockdown, this is when I started doing it. We offered free coaching for everyone, and we made it 45-minute sessions so that we could do one an hour. And we just offered it as for free, just to help people out who were struggling. And because of that, I knew that this wasn't. I wasn't talking to people who were thinking about having coaching. This was it. This was the one and done session. So I got really good, as did Nick, because we were doing them all day, every day. Got really good with Nick, was like, right, how can I help? And then really quickly listing all the things that were wrong, picking the one thing that would make the biggest difference, and then dealing with it in the session. We did timelines, we did collapsing anchors, we did everything in that 45 minutes, which was ridiculous. But, suddenly when you realize, when people are like, oh no, I'm interested in having more sessions. So yeah, I'd like to go a bit deeper. It was like, whoa, we've got so much time. I just have to ask these questions. So I think I tend to still ask people, is this a one and done, or are you interviewing for a coach? And if it's a one and done, yeah, definitely. What's wrong? Let's do an intervention. Try and get a collapsing anchors done at least. Or even just showing them some tapping, or showing them collapsing anchors, or signposting them to the bits in the app that would help, But if it's for interviewing for coaching, then I'm like, right, what's wrong? What else is wrong? What else is wrong? What else is wrong? What else is wrong? And what they tend to give you is like 30 examples of 3 core problems. Does that make sense? Like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But actually, all of those are your fear of abandonment. All of those are your not good enough limiting belief. And so you haven't really got that many issues to deal with. You've only got 3. So that tends to be what I do, is try and get the patterns, but just ask what's wrong, what else. Obviously, I work mostly in relationships, but somebody will talk to me about one aspect of things, and we'll end up, like Susan says, you'll end up in a different zone talking about their childhood. Good. All right, so what are the questions that you would ask over the phone, let's say, or by email? Is there anything that you would ask to weed out sort of people that would definitely not work right for you? Someone says, I got your number off a friend, hoping you get Amy.
Maybe have you had coaching before, or have you been through this process before, just to find out? And if they have a pattern of saying, I did the multiple instances where it just hasn't been the right coach, and that might be just a slight alarm bell. Not necessarily, maybe they weren't the right coaches, but something like that, to see if there's a pattern of looking for help without actually wanting to follow through, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is your kind of process to weed out any sort of red flags, because you are in the business of, obviously, you might not be the right person for everybody. So if you can save yourself the time by finding out sooner, right, that's the wise thing to do. Somebody messaged me the other day, ex-student, and they said, I was hoping you could help me with my teenager. She's having a hard time, so I thought maybe you could help her. And immediately I go back with like, oh, lovely to hear from you. Yes, great. Happy to help. However, there is a stipulation. I do not work with the child. I will help you and whoever her primary caregiver is, if that's not you. I will help you maybe in conjunction, but no, I won't see the child on their own. Major stipulation. Haven't heard back. So that's nice and simple, nice and quick. You know, if you're not interested in working the way that I work, life is too short. I'm not going to try and convince them that that's what needs to be done. I'm just going to state the facts that the majority of psychologists agree on, that you can't do it in isolation, and then see what they say. Now, what I could have done, so if I was more salesy, what I could have done was say, yes, let's jump on a call and we'll talk about it. And not said anything. And then waited until he'd given me the full weight of his feelings about the whole situation and sort of unloaded, and we built rapport, and you know what I mean? Like, I've got all of his bruises, you know, emotional bruises in front of me. And then I could have sold it from that. Because I could have said, right, well, if you really want to help her, you need to deal with this, 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 and that. That's the best way that you can help her. Does that make sense? Like, I could have been more salesy about it, but because I'm not kind of like, I'm not trying to sell at any cost. I'm just like, that's how it works. Does that make sense? I'm not going to try and convince you. That's how it is. But you could, is what I'm saying. You can do that. You can say, let's talk about it. Let them lay out all of the issues. And then you can make your case in a much more compelling way because you've got the evidence in front of you. Does that make sense? Similarly, if I want to send my wife to you because she's really annoying, right? Oh yeah, cool. Okay, yeah, look, book her in. Or why don't we jump on a call about it and talk about how annoying she is? Right. And then it's like, oh, okay, so what it sounds like is you're the one with the problem. So why don't we have coaching where we can discuss that? Yeah. So you want to wheedle out people that aren't for you, people who might not be at cause of the issue, people that have seen everyone under the sun and they're looking for sort of one more piece of evidence that they can't be helped. Anything else you'd look for to wheedle out people that aren't for you?
Oh, hi, Jess. So I've got a question in the chat that might be related to what you're saying.
Ah, okay. Oh, okay. Do I recommend having a niche? I've not had a niche. What am I, 48 now? 48? Yeah, 48. And I have only had a niche in the last year. Really? Like, I've been doing everything. Well, and I still, if somebody asks me, I'll help them. I'm not so niche that I'm like, no, that's not what I do. If somebody asks me for help and I feel compelled to help, then I'll help because I can. And I think being a generalist is really helpful at the beginning because how do you know what you want to do? If you know, I'm a trial and error learner. I've got to do it before I know whether I want to do that. And now I know what I want to do. I'm very happy that that's what I'll talk about. That's what I'll offer. But yeah, if somebody comes out. So Jen, do you want to have a niche?
Um, I don't think I do. So I'm back in London because of the boys. So now I'm starting to focus more on the coaching. So that's why I'm asking because I need to decide who do I want to coach? What do I want to coach on? Because Ghana, I was doing mainly training, but here I want to do coaching. A part of me wants to do women in midlife. Part of me wants to do people who want to transition, whether it's change careers, move countries, all the stuff that I've had to do over the last 10 years.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I'm still not 100%. So that's why.
And you don't need to be, as long as when you message, like if you were gonna do your message to clients, it just helps other people to say, Jen would be brilliant for you. Because often people say, does anybody know anybody that could deal with grief or addictions or whatever? Susan, I know that you've dealt with the menopause and things like that. So it brings easier for people to bring to mind, you know, a particular person when someone says, oh, I've got issues with this. And you're like, oh yeah, I know someone who's really into that. Because it gives you a sense of that you might be an expert in that area. Whereas if you said, oh, do you think Tony Robbins would be able to help me? Be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's probably fine.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I'm sure he knows a lot about that, whatever it is. But you might say, do you see what I mean? So it's okay to be a generalist if you're good,
Mm.
because what are you good at? You're good at getting a shift, getting a change. Whatever your problem is, I'll help you move past it.
Mm.
Breaking through. As long as you make your niche really clear to other people what it is so they understand that would help me, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you want specific type of person, demographic, then yeah, you need to tailor your message so that they feel like you're talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, yeah, just get really clear on what is it you do for people that you're really good at.
Okay.
And just chunk up to you're comfortable. So, yeah. So if you, I think with Jen, because you're, can you finish the sentence? Like, oh, Jen, she is the go-to something for people who something.
People who want to get control of their minds and emotions to achieve their dreams.
Great.
That sounds very general. Sounds very general to me as I said it.
It's fine. She's the go-to person. So person, coach, what would you call you?
Coach.
Yeah, so she's the go-to coach for people who want to gain control of their minds, their lives, and make a shift and get also to achieve their dreams.
Yeah.
Sounds good. That'll do.
Okay. Let's try it and see. I'll let you know, Jess, how it goes. But I'll get more specific. I will do some work on getting more clear on who I want to serve.
Yeah. You will tend to do better as you niche.
Mm-hmm.
Like as you niche, it's easier for people to go, oh, you're really good at that, and for you to get really confident that you're really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel more. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I would say that's. Yeah.
And also, if anybody in the call, are there places where coaches can kind of register and get leads so that I can do more coaching in order to get
The endless question, Jen.
Oh really has it? Okay, sorry.
The agencies basically is what you're thinking about. There are lots of places that you could register. Whether you actually get any work from them is a whole other.
Okay.
I would say don't. I would say
just go out on my own and just do my own thing, look for my own clients and just be standalone. Is that what you're recommending?
obviously you're welcome to ask on the WhatsApp group for everybody's opinions. But if there was some magical fairy giving out coaching work, we'd all be there. You can charge more if you don't do that.
Right.
Right. You can charge more, get away more if you do your own agency. And I think just LinkedIn is probably the best place.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say.
And finally, talking about charges, what's kind of the range now? What's a good going rate for
Depends on your demographic, Jen.
Okay.
Because if you're talking about corporate, it's one rate. If you're talking about individuals, it's whatever they afford, can afford, and whatever they value it as. And what are they comparing it to?
Exactly, yeah.
Because somebody was like, yeah, but I pay, was it £60 to my psychotherapist every week. So how do you justify, £175 an hour? I was like, because I ain't no psychotherapist. That's why. We are not the same, but we're doing the same job.
Years on the couch. Okay, yeah.
So that's how I justify it. But if that person's like, well, no, but I only want to pay £60, well, that's fine.
See you later.
12 years when you still have the same issues, come back and we'll fix it in 3. So, like, you've got to decide what you want to charge, Jen. There's no limits here. There's people that will pay £3,000 an hour for a coach here, and there's people that won't.
Yeah.
I would say for simplicity, charge what you would pay. Then you won't have any limiting beliefs in the way because it's worth it. You'll pay it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Alrighty. Good questions.
So just to add into that, Jen, I had someone email me today to tell me that they can get me clients and that I would earn $150,000 a year with them.
Lovely.
So you get plenty of people that will promise you things, but I get lots of emails like that. I get people telling me all the time that they're going to find me clients and I don't have to worry about any of that and they'll bring me people.
I think that the number one thing, if you're going to go out on your own as a coach, and obviously that's what the whole point of like learning the business side of things goes, is just how you get your clients is, have you done your human design, Jen?
No, we've talked about that many, many times. I've
I
not.
wonder whether you are in fact manifestor or Manny Jenny, and therefore how you get clients can often, depending on your energy type, will also matter as well. So by going out, you tend to get opportunities when you just go out and be with people, don't you? Like you'll go.
Yeah, people just bring me stuff.
So you're either, the projector waiting for the invitation, or you're Manny Jenny. Opportunities tend to stick to you the more you do, don't they? They just sort of arise, don't they?
Yes, but I do want to do the human design. Thanks for reminding me. Do you mind sharing a link, or should I just Google? What's a good
Oh,
place?
have you got ChatGPT?
Yes.
Okay, so if you go on to Google and just find somewhere that does a free
Okay.
human design.
Okay.
I'm happy if you stay behind, I'll do one quickly for you, and then you can just drop it into ChatGPT. It's nice and easy then, and it can tell you everything you need to know. But yeah, so your human design may affect how you market yourself.
Okay.
So Manny Jennies just need to go out and be with people and enjoy themselves, and stuff just sort of tends to happen for them. Opportunities like magnetized to them. Projectors have to just let everybody know what they do and then wait for the invitation. Super frustrating, but that's but that is their genius, unfortunately, the frustration of having so much genius and not having enough invitations. Generators are slightly different. They just need to, again, do what they love with so much passion and just make sure everybody knows that that's what they do. Yeah, and I would always say with the generator, just go and do it. Do it. Like, do the thing that you love until someone pays you to do it. Yeah, so it just depends.
Okay, I'll stay behind, Jess. I'm here.
Yeah, I'm gonna just bet that there's some manifestor energy in there for sure. Like, we'll see.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Jess.
Yeah, figuring out that how to get clients, whole other. I've done a free session on that that's recorded. It's in the app, but I would say that's your core, is figuring out that, and then it doesn't matter what type of clients, or you can change that. But will I get clients? Yeah, if you figure out how to get clients and then do that repeatedly and turn the tap on or off depending on how many clients you need. But figuring that strategy out is really important. I know that if I show up live online, I get a bunch of clients. If I do regular online, I get regularly a lot of clients. So if I don't do it, I get the harvest from referrals from clients I've already done at a certain rate, which eventually slows down. If I do a bunch of live sessions, webinars, whatever, bang, it's up again. So you've got to know what works for you. All right, good. So email, whatever, however you're gonna just look for the red flags. People aren't really accountable. People might not be in your price range as well, so you don't have to worry about that. And then the discovery call of some description, however long you want to do it, and then you want to give them a sense of what is what is a journey with you look like. But you're not going to know unless you ask them questions. So should we do some practice? Who's up for some practice? Don't all shout at once.
Yes.
Okay, let me share this. Oh, somebody's changed their mind. It's gone. All right. Run away. All right. Are these sort of sessions useful, do you think, where we talk about more sort of the practical side of things rather than the intervention?
Very much so.
100%. Yes.
Thank you.
Because I feel like you can hear this stuff like 6 times and still need to hear it 7th time sometimes, I think.
I don't think I've ever been to somewhere where somebody has gone, this is how you set up.
Really?
Yeah, never.
You figured it out by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, probably because there's no sort of set rules, but this is the Tad James timeline therapy one. So he reckons before the session you should ask questions like, how long have you had it? What have you done about it? I think that's an odd question. Do you ever feel positive, negative emotions? But obviously that's he's assuming that he's working with perhaps somebody that's never done anything before. So he's allowed, that. So do you ever feel positive and negative emotions? That in itself, asking the direct question might have someone say, That's a good point. Yeah, I get really angry. Like, oh, yeah, I get really, really sad. Or I often feel like this. Great, there's like 12 more sessions that you can sell, right? I mean, from a purely business point of view, the more stuff you elicit, you know what I mean? Like, I always use the electrician example. I don't know why I'm obsessed with electricians. But imagine if like you just wanted someone to do your outdoor socket, and as part of the intake, they're like, do you ever have any sort of power fluctuations? Does your lights ever flicker on and off? You know, like, oh, we do actually, yeah, we have. Okay, well, I'll check that when I come over then. Do you know what I mean? And just by asking those little questions, you could get, actually, that would really be helpful. Thank you. Hadn't thought of that, but yeah, we're so used to it. Maybe that'd be good. Do you want me to check your fuse box while I'm there? Oh, that'd be great, actually. Yeah, it'd be reassuring, wouldn't it? Do you ever feel any positive emotions? Have you heard that you have an unconscious mind? These are some really good basic questions. Why do you want to let go of the problem? Tony Robbins used to say, why is now the right time? Like, as opposed to, why haven't you dealt with this before? Why is now such a good time? One couple were getting married, which is why they were like, we've got weeks to go. And we're like, oh, should we, shouldn't we? They're pretty motivated. And then you could say, we may give you some tasking before we see you. You have to do those tasks or we can't see you. I have never in the history of ever given anybody a task to do before seeing them. However, anybody know what is good about what do I mean by tasking?
Is it to check ecology before they come along if they're really interested? I don't know. Is that what it's about?
It's literally you give them things to do. So it would be, I want you to write a letter to your younger self, blah, blah, blah. Or I want you to, and it could be anything. It's just to put a few obstacles to see how motivated they are, basically. And
Yeah,
to see how
because
responsive.
it just sees it tests their commitment.
Yeah, that's it. And because if somebody tried, because I'm a manifest, maybe it's because I'm a manifest and maybe I'm just obstinate, but if somebody said to me, okay, Jess, before I can see you, you've got to do these things, I'd be like, no. Just point blank, I just wouldn't do it. I'll fill in a questionnaire, no probs. But if you're like, okay, you've got to go and do these, no. I'm also pragmatist. If I could see the reason why, if they say, if they give me a reason, like what we found is that when people complete this task, the effectiveness of the sessions is increased by 75%, fine, I'm in. But just getting me to do spurious tasks to test my commitment, no. No, I'm not interested in that. I don't know why. But that's a personal thing, right? So I'm not going to do that to other people because I wouldn't like it. The other way of they talk about ordeal as well, something really hard, like you've got to drive to Manchester and do whatever and then come back and like it's not for me. If they said, if they gave me the reason, if they said, if you do the tasking, your subconscious mind knows you're serious and you'll get better results, fine. If I'm bought in. But if they just told me you have to do that because I only work with people that are fully committed, all right, whatever, I'll find someone else. I'm just such a child. I'm just listening to myself talk. But that's why I don't do it. I think people can be just in desperate need for help and don't want any more obstacles in the way of getting help sometimes. So, do you know what I mean? Just don't make it harder. But Tad James loves them, especially if perhaps, which I do agree with, if someone's not paying, if it's their company that's paying and they've got no vested interest, if you see what I mean. Like if it's all a bit like, well, someone else is paying it, if it works, I don't really care. But then I don't know if I'd work with them anyway. Do you know what I mean? If they're not motivated to change, why are they there? So yeah. So potentially some tasking. I've never done it. Mentioning about this is all the legal stuff here. Mentioning that you're not, people have mistaken me for being a psychiatrist before, and I've been like, okay, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know who told you I was. I'm not. And being really clear that what it is and what it isn't. It's not psychotherapy. It's not counselling. It's very much coaching. It's just therapeutic coaching. We do interventions. I am going to ask you about your childhood. There are things that we can do if you don't want to work with your childhood. I'm not a doctor. I can't advise you on medical issues. If you're taking medication, I can't advise you on that. I would recommend talking to your doctor, things like that, you know, legal stuff. Here's Tad James's, this one I like, when he's seen multiple therapists for the problem, maybe assign a task to prove that you want to work with me. That's fine. My problem is bigger than anybody else's. I love these. Like, you're not going to be able to help me because no one's been able to help me. My problem is so big that you need a task. I love it, to prove commitment.
People do come. I had one person who really just kept on. It was that whole thing of, well, no, it's not working. Well, I'm not sure. And it was really, the whole thing was, whatever I've got isn't curable.
Yeah.
You just, you know, I've done, you just, and it was really that, and that's what they wanted. That's why they were coming, is because they just wanted to show that whatever they had, nobody could help them. And there are people out there that do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
you know,
absolutely.
You know, that's what you want to pay for.
Yeah, I definitely see the identity side of things. But again, just asking, is all right with your unconscious mind, is a really good question, because it is or it isn't. I'm very much, I don't know, I'm very different in my approach. I tend to kind of like cross that bridge when we come to it. Do you know what I mean? You know, like, I don't need to.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't need to weed you out at this point, you know? And I think maybe that comes from my personal sense of like, if I have gone to the gone to the place where I need to ask for help, I just need you to help me. I may be in my own way. I don't want you to make that another barrier to me. Like, don't punish me for being in my own way. Help me. And I think when I've seen people, I can see all those things as just more things to work through. And my job is to get really good at rapport with the unconscious mind, so it seems like a good idea. And I think that's what, you know, I don't see it as a failure if somebody has an identity and they don't want to get rid of the problem. That's all right. That's okay. I don't mind if somebody's too scared to get rid of the problem. That's okay as well. It's all fine. I don't need to make your life harder because of it. But obviously, Tad James is very, very rule-based. So as long as you preface everything with that. Okay, beginning the session, and then I'm going to just put you into groups to ask some of these questions to each other so that you can kind of get a sense of it. Establish rapport. Obviously, the whole point is learning to do that as fast as possible so that you, as soon as they come on the screen. How many of you, by the way, from because now we're Zoom Nation, now you meet people for the first time on Zoom, how many of you have that experience where you've got onto Zoom with somebody who's clearly not a coach, right? Somebody who's clearly not in the sort of business of trying to make other people feel better, and they're like deadpan, or they're not smiling, or they're not looking at you for a good couple, like, minutes or so before you start, and they're not saying hello, totally not trying to make you feel comfortable or anything. Has anyone had that experience with anyone? Yeah, Claire, what was your experience with your Zoom? Oh, sorry, I put you on the spot there.
Sorry, I was just looking to get my mute off. It's my boss at work, actually. She's very, very professional, and she's just always got her agenda, and so we get onto a Zoom. She is like often looking down, and then she's just going down her list, and no time for small talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a killer, isn't it? And I like the ones as well where you've got they're on the iPad or the phone, and they're like literally like some spurious angle as well. Like, yeah, so I know that you know how to do rapport and make somebody feel at ease. So the whole point of this next session is let's assume this is discovery. We just want to ask as many questions as possible, not just to get the symptoms, but let's start getting a bit more of the structure. So what's this about? You know, what are these patterns? Patterns is everything. Because once you've got the patterns, it's more obvious what intervention you're going to need, and you're going to get this lovely sort of, what's it called? Not remedial, it's the other one, generative change. You're going to get a change in the whole of their life. You know, it's going to be great. So what specifically do you want? Where are you now in relation to that? What will you see, hear and feel when you have it? Evidence, procedure, yeah. What are the consequences of getting what you want? Positive and negative, I'm guessing. How will you know when you have it? What will this outcome get for you or allow you to do? So this is the why. Why does it matter? Why do you want it? What changes do you need to do? What action do you need to take to make it happen? Again, they've asked that question for maybe putting some tasking in later, because you don't just have to do it as before, you can do it all the way through if you wanted to. I think that's really helpful. Like, what changes do you need to do, or what action do you need to make it happen? Asking the client's belief system about what needs to happen to get a result, massively helpful, because that's their belief system. And if you can work with that already, that's brilliant, isn't it? Or you might realize, oh, okay. Like, for example, if a client said, what changes do you need to make to find your perfect partner? And they're like, well, I need to lose 3 stone and go to the gym, get a facelift. I'm going to be like, okay, let's make a note of that. That's an interesting belief system. Might want to work with that first. But it's interesting, right? Because if you hadn't asked that, you might not have elicited it so fast. Like, okay, they've got some crooked thinking going on there. Is it only for you? That's one of the well-formed outcome questions that hopefully you're used to asking about, rather than, oh, well, I don't really want to do it for me. I'm doing it because somebody wants me to do it. Where, when, how, and with whom do you want it? This is just contextualized. So if you want to be more confident, if you want to have more self-esteem, when and where is that going to benefit you? Somebody might say, I want to be really assertive. Where, when, and with whom do you want it? Oh, just in my job, not with my kids, not with my husband, just maybe at work. What do you have now and what do you need to get your outcome? And again, brilliant. What do you have now? What do you need to get your outcome? That's like resources. Have you ever had or done this before? Do you know anyone who has? Yeah. How do you act if you had it now? Can you act as if you do? Why not? Nice question. I think people misunderstand that as well. Like if when people talk about acting as if you're a millionaire in order to become a millionaire, they don't obviously mean like go and spend like a millionaire, which I think people kind of get confused. Like, but I don't have £1 million, so how can I act like a millionaire if I don't have £1 million? It's like, no, but you've got to embody the psyche of someone who you think has a lot of money. How would they think? How would they act? What values would they have? For what purpose do you want this? That can be the source of some really interesting thinking. What will you gain or lose if you have it? That's the what will happen if you don't get it, what won't happen if you don't get it, what will happen if you do get it, what won't happen if you do get it. What will happen if you get it? Blah, 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 all that. Can you do it now? Can you do it now? That one is I want to be more relaxed. Can you do it now? Do you know how to do it? Yeah. Or I want to stop being angry. Can you get angry now? All these questions here, I don't want to go through. How do you do it? When do you do it? There is a strategy. If you want to elicit strategy for the problem, you can do. I don't go that way. I don't go into kind of how do you do it with, that kind of question. I'll show you my approach in a second because it's probably easier. What are they willing to do to have the problem disappear? Talk about frames. This is all here, so I don't want to ask these questions. Then, okay, intervention, right. So this is quite right. So you write everything down that they say, right? You write everything down, but try and put it into the sort of context in your head of, I've got these limiting beliefs, these limiting emotions, like these patterns of emotions, these patterns of limiting beliefs, and maybe make a note of some traumas, or whatever they've talked about openly, sort of stuff about, and problems they're experiencing in their life as a result, and goals. So you kind of where they want to be, where they sort of are now, limiting beliefs, limiting emotions, and traumatic things that that have happened to them as a rough idea. Does that make sense? Those are your sort of areas you're working on. And then when it comes to the invention, we'll do that in a bit. But obviously, Tad James has his list. Do the emotions, all the limiting emotions first. all limiting decisions, do any parts integrations that you need to do, make sure you've cleared everything, test it, and then future pace it. So yeah, but you got to test quite thoroughly. We can do all of this over a number of sessions. We don't have to do all this tonight. I just want to practice a bit tonight. Does that make sense on this first bit? Yeah, that thing's in the chat. Here's another thing that you can do. So you can either go through some of those questions with the person, whoever you're in a room with, if you want to play. If you don't want to play, that's fine. It just has to be 10 minutes each. You're right, David. Nice to see you, by the way. David, can I say, David? Can I say? David's just had a baby. Well, his wife.
Congratulations!
It's so lovely. I'm so excited. He's had a baby. Well done. Well done.
It wasn't me.
Enjoy.
I hope he hasn't personally had the baby, but his other half has.
He looks bloody good for someone who's just had a baby, doesn't he? He looks rested. Rested.
Only
Glow-
last night.
You're glowing.
Thanks.
Bless you.
It's the oxytocin. It's wonderful. I fall asleep just like that, but not when I'm in when I'm in a chair or standing up. So
Gets
great
that
that I was awake.
way. Well, it's nice to see you. I certainly wasn't expecting to see you, so that's nice. So here's the simple way, right? So here's the simple way that you can do if you want to, which is great. How can I help you? Just listen to what they say. Yeah. How else? Yeah. What else? What else? What else? Till they stop talking. Ah, okay. So if you could wake up tomorrow and life be different, what would life be like for you? And then, okay, so what's stopping you from having all of that? So you can either do that yourself by what they've said, or what are the things that you would want to be different? When you've done that, just ask, right, give me 3 examples. That first thing that you told me about, that first problem that you talked about, the thing you don't want in your life anymore, the thing that's difficult, give me 3 examples of it. 3 examples of when you felt that or thought that. And then just go straight into a timeline. Yeah. If you want to do personal history, you can do. You can also, if you've only got 45 minutes, like I used to have in my sessions, it would be like, let's go. Who wants to play just really quickly? Who wants to play? David. David, you can stay awake long enough?
Yeah.
So the question would be, David, if you could wake up tomorrow morning and things be different, what would life feel like?
Amazing.
What would be different?
What's the question again?
What would be different if you could wake this? Try and stay focused, David. If you could wake up tomorrow and life be different, like would be just the way you want it, what would be different? If you could change anything and life be different tomorrow, what would you change?
Having more sleep.
Having more sleep.
More quality sleep. It has to be quality sleep because that's really important.
Okay, so if you could wake up tomorrow and have big quality sleep, okay, good. All right. And what's in the way of that?
Screaming child.
A screaming child.
Hungry. No, she's not screaming. She's hungry. I wake up when Charlotte wakes up to support her
Yeah.
to get her calm so she can feed properly. Not Charlotte, the baby, that is.
Lovely. Okay. All right. And what happens at the moment that stops you from getting that quality sleep? Like, obviously, the in between.
Yeah, I'm on edge a little bit. Like I go to sleep and I'm on high alert, so I don't quite relax. So I need to have a gap before I try and go back to sleep, although I go back to sleep straight away, so it's a bit tricky.
What are you on edge about?
Well, just making sure that she's still alive, right? 'Cause she's so little and helpless and all that.
Okay, so you feel describe what do you mean by on edge? What does that feel like in your body?
Maybe not on edge, on high alert, like kind of like I've got to be available to like wake up all of a sudden and I sleep really. I'm like the deepest sleeper ever, and I'm a little bit deaf, so it's quite an interesting combo. So I'm kind of like I've surprised myself in the fact that I can wake up really quickly, but then it's been able to go back to sleep as deeply to get my recovery. Something.
What happens after?
I go back to sleep, but I'm not as deep.
Is that because you're on edge, you said?
Yeah, I'm on high alert would be the phrase I'd use.
Okay. All right. That feeling of high alert, what does it feel like in your body?
Tense.
Tension.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's assume, right? Is that a warranted response to the situation or an unwarranted?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's warranted. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you think I can help?
How can you help? I need a knowing that I can be asleep as deep as I want to be and still respond when I need to.
Okay. And what would help you with that? What would give you the evidence that was true?
Uh,
Have you
that
ever
if I,
woken up when you needed to?
yeah, because it's so, yeah, it's a good point. Because it's new.
When have you,
Yeah,
sorry, no, David, when have you not woken up when you were supposed to?
never. Well, for work maybe. I don't want to
Okay.
wake up for work, so because that's like a
Okay, so let's go with the hypothetical. That's the fear is that you won't wake up. If you let yourself go deep, you won't wake up in time, and then what will happen?
I won't be there to support Charlotte and our baby.
And what will happen then?
She'll be annoyed.
And what will happen then?
Baby might be really, really irate and then not feed at all. And then I might cry forever.
And then might cry forever.
Yeah.
And then
And
what
then
would happen?
and then there'll be no sleep whatsoever anywhere in the
It get
probably the whole of the
worse.
road.
Okay. So if we took that as a general, I won't be there to support. If I don't wake up in time, I won't be
Yeah.
there to do what I need to do, and people will be angry and upset.
Yes.
Yeah. What does that feel like in your body? Is that fear? That tension? Is that fear or is it just tension?
I feel like I would let her down.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a pattern for you?
Yeah, I don't like letting people down.
Right, there you go. Done. Right, so you're in. Right, so there's your
And I'm getting really emotional, by the way. I might start crying.
Great. Well, this was wise then. Wise to go digging around in there. You see, right? That's the question. Is that what I'm trying to get to is where's the pattern here? Where's the pattern here? It's not about that. It's not about that. It's not about that. It's not about that. Yeah, we're not going to talk about breath work. We're not going to talk about sleep. Sleep hygiene. We're not talking about that. Where's the pattern here? I know there's one. There's a pattern in here. We'll find it. It's not letting people down.
Yeah.
And that's going to come up. Woo! Like massively. Okay. Yeah. You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, that was good. Thank you.
But now you know that's what you need to do. And it's going to be the timeline. So 3 examples of where you've experienced that fear of letting people down. One is now, 3. Yeah. And then timeline straight off that.
Okay, thank you.
If this was a discovery session, I would be like, okay, great. Talk to me a little bit about that. I'd probably get the 3 examples and then say, right, what else? And we would go into something else. And then I'd be able to say, right, so what you need then is a session with me where we're going to deal with that.
Yeah.
And then maybe 2, and then so on. Yeah. Okay.
Good. Thank you, Jess.
So ask, 3 examples. Is it a pattern? Great.
It was good that playback you gave me then as well, because when I would imagine it's similar for other clients when you're doing that, you're doing the discovery, you're kind of quite in your head when you're answering the questions, but when you're playing it back, then you feel the emotion. So if that person's a feeler, then they feel the emotions and you get to the pattern. That would be my feedback on myself,
Yeah.
the third person, if you saw what I mean.
Good. Okay. And that obviously, David, that was just a very quick way of trying to get to demonstrate that you can do this any way you like.
Of course.
But that's the quickest way to do it. Okay. All right. I'm going to open the rooms. If you want to stay and do some practice on, how can I help you? There's no pressure, obviously, to do it in 5 minutes or ask some of those questions. If you want to do that tonight, you can do. If you don't want to do that tonight, we will just do it then in the next practice evening. Yeah, so we'll just do some practice. I'll give you the questions and you can do some practice. What's the general feeling? Or do you want to watch me do timeline on David?
I'd love
I
to
don't
watch the
mind
timeline and then maybe practice next time. That's my personal opinion.
What do you want to do? I can open the rooms, not a problem. What do you want to do?
I agree with Amy.
Same.
Does David want to do it though? He's pulling his cap down.
Just
Poor David.
I'll just set you a task first, an ordeal, David. And
Nappy duty.
do you want?
Help you get some deep sleep.
What does everybody else think? John, what do you want to do? You want to do next practice evening? We'll do some more practice. What do you want to do?
I'm conscious of time, so 15 minutes might be a bit tight, but
I'm not going to stop people from working. If they want to work, they just go into the room and they can just work. But yes, the official session.
and for me personally,
yes.
I'll be in trouble if I'm
there's no shortage. We can keep doing these sessions that are helpful. It's not a problem. So as long as it's up to you.
So
okay. Claire, David, or practice?
I'm very happy to watch you do the timeline on David.
Jess, are people giving you the answer that you want them to?
Yeah, I just don't want to feel like people came here for practice and then they get to watch me practice. That's all I'm worried about. It's weird. I went for practice, but then I didn't get any practice. I don't want to let people down, David. That's my problem.
I know how you feel. I know how you feel.
I mean, like, what if people came here and they didn't get what they came here for, and then they just hated me? They turned on me with a vengeance. By the way, I've set everybody the homework of watching Sonic 3. Funniest film I've watched in a really long time.
Is it? Okay, I'm up for that.
Yes.
We'll be watching that about 5. Well, at the moment, maybe
Yeah.
not after, if we do timeline in a minute. No pressure, Jess.
All right, my lovely. All right, well let's do it then. Feel free to drop off anybody as you need to, but I'll just we'll do in 2 weeks. We'll just come on and I'll make sure you've got the questions, and then you can just go into the rooms and practice. All right, David, is it all right with your unconscious mind that you release this feeling of not wanting to let people down today? For you to have a conscious experience that it's gone?
Yeah, it's here. It's in my heart. So yeah, it wants to go.
It wants to go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And if you were to know, or give me the other 2 situations, just so I've got something to test. One is now.
Mm-hmm.
When else do you worry about letting people down, or have you?
I let people down. Probably work that's not coaching.
Work that's not.
So IT work, my other hat.
And is it your team or is it your boss in particular that you worry about?
Well, I don't really have a team, so yeah, it's probably my boss probably.
Has it been every boss or just specific bosses?
Probably every.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And when else have you worried about letting people down?
Yeah, maybe friends. I think.
Particular friends or all friends?
So maybe it isn't friends. Maybe it's family. Yeah, I don't think it's friends actually. I've got a bit more badass more recently. So it's probably family.
Any particular members of the family? Who would you never want to let down?
Probably my sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I would happily go into lots more detail, but just because it's a timeline, I just think
Yeah, of course.
just crack on. I know you know what you're doing. All right. So it's all right with your unconscious mind for you to let this feeling, go. Yeah. Any hesitation there? Or is you all right?
Yeah, a little bit, because like I'm a bit out of practice. And really weird. It's just a bit strange. I mean,
Are you worried about letting me down, David?
yeah, and when I've seen all these people, well, not all these people, but a lot of people before, and it's just like, oh, I'm in the frame, literally, on the old Zoom. Yeah, it's a bit strange. It's an odd feeling. I don't normally feel like this, so
Okay.
yeah, I'm definitely getting hotter, so it's definitely doing something.
We'll check in again. Is it all right with your unconscious mind that you release this feeling today? If it's not the right context, that's fine. Doesn't.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, because I kind of like want to be able to be on high alert, but I also want to not feel that I'm letting someone down. It's
Okay.
weird. It's like a little bit of a conflict, a little bit of parts, I
If you could
suppose.
achieve the same outcome of ensuring people are taken care of without the tension, would that be okay?
So there again.
If you could achieve the same outcome of taking care of people, do the right things when you need to do the right things without the tension, would that be okay?
Yes, yes,
Cool. So provided that we make sure that you can do those things that you need to do, it's okay to release the tension.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So feeling into a recent time that you felt the tension, the high alertness, and the feeling of not wanting to let anybody down. Okay. Uh, if you were to know the root cause of this feeling, I know you don't, but if you did know the root cause of this feeling, the first event that when disconnected would cause this problem to disappear, was it before, during, or after your birth?
I don't know.
Well, I know you don't know, but if you did know, don't try and remember. Go into your
Okay.
feelings. How old does it feel? Ancient. Before, during, or after your birth, old?
4.
Before. And passed down to you genealogically or
Yeah.
past life?
Karmic, very
And how
karmic.
many generations?
5 comes to mind.
5. So it's generations, not past lives. 5 generations before.
Mm, maybe past lives. Mm-hmm.
Past lives, we're going with past lives.
Yeah.
5 past lives ago.
Mm.
Yep. Okay, good. All right. So when you're ready, bring to mind that your future stretches out in some relationship to your body in one direction, and your past stretches out in another direction.
Yep.
Notice that those imply a line, and that line
Mm-hmm.
can be up to down, left to right, curvy, straight, completely unique to you. However you do your timeline is fine. And then when you're ready, I want you to hold on to that feeling so that you can find it, the feeling that you want to release. And when you're ready, float up above your timeline, over the past, facing the past, all the way back in time. 5 past lives. And then when you get near the event, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And if you want to tell me what's happening in the event, tell me. If not, just say I don't want to.
It's just a feeling I don't really know.
Okay. So hovering over that event then, just go ahead and ask your unconscious mind, what are the learnings, if you float over that event, what are the learnings that will allow that emotion to completely disappear?
Can I tell you?
Yeah, tell me what they are.
It's okay not to know is what's coming up for me.
Okay. What else?
That's all that's coming up. It's okay not to know.
It's okay not to know.
And the lightness kind of like yeah, like my feet want to come off the ground, grounded. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, your unconscious mind can preserve the learnings, so if you need them in the future, they'll be there.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other learnings?
Trust your gut. The other one that's coming up for me.
Anything else?
Can you repeat the question?
Anything else? Any other learnings that will completely allow that emotion to disappear?
You've got this as come.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right. Now float to position 3. So you're above the event, well before the event, looking towards the now. Make sure you're well before any of the chain of events that led to that event. And ask yourself, now where are the emotions? Are they there or have they disappeared?
What emotions? Which ones?
They're not fear of letting somebody down and the tension.
It's a little bit of tension across here,
Great.
but the fear bit seems to. Okay.
All right. So go ahead and ask your unconscious mind, what is the one missing learning that will allow that tension to completely disappear? Allow it to bubble up into your unconscious, from your unconscious into your conscious.
Express is coming up for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, express, whatever that means, like articulate, talk.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That little sigh that you just gave there, is that the last of the tension going?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Going or gone?
Going. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now float down inside the event. That's position 4. Looking through your own eyes and check on the emotions. Are they there or have they disappeared now?
There's any emotions there.
Great. Okay. So back to position 3. So well above and before any of the chain of events that led to that event. And you can come back to now above your timeline, but only as quickly as you let go of all of the tension and that fear of letting people down on the events all the way back to now. So in position 3 with every subsequent event, preserve the learnings, let go of the tension and that fear of letting people down all the way back to now.
Mm-hmm.
Done?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, float down into now and come back into the room. Okay, good. All right. So what's been the best moment so far since having a baby?
Being in love with your daughter, I suppose. It's such a different. I don't know. I can't really explain it.
Not like anything else, is it?
No, it's nothing like anything else.
Is it what you thought it was going to be or different?
Completely different.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was like saying to myself earlier on, why didn't I do this sooner? But then I wasn't ready sooner, so that's why.
Yeah, that's it. You couldn't have done it sooner.
Yeah,
That's it.
no, I wasn't ready.
Lovely. All right. So, can you remember any event in the past where you used to be able to feel that old emotion? And just go back and notice if you can feel it, or you might find that you can't.
There's a little bit across here, but it was here before, so it sort of moved a bit down to sort of chest rather than heaviness on my shoulders or tension across my shoulders.
Uh-huh.
But not in a bad way, like kind of in a love way rather than a way.
Okay, good. All right. Now I want you to go out to the future to an unspecified time in the future where if it had happened in the past, you would have felt that inappropriate or unwarranted amount of fear or tension. And notice if you can find that old emotion, or you might find that you can't.
Okay, so into the future. I can't find it, and I'm yawning, so that's a good
That's a
sign.
good sign. Okay. Lovely. All right. So obviously, when we do our own timelines, you can do what you want. So that I would do a much more sort of bigger future pace. So I would have you mentally rehearse now lots of, like, for example, going to bed tonight and so on. I would have you mentally rehearse that lots of times, maybe put some anchors in there, so some really positive kind of resource anchors in there, whatever the client needs to really reassure that they can do it. What's your evidence procedure, Dave? When will you know that this has been effective?
Usually 3.
3.
Yeah.
So what will that be, like 3 times going to sleep feeling relaxed about the idea?
No, from timeline perspective, like 3 occurrences of, into the future.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to do that quickly then? So go out to another 2,
Okay.
mentally rehearse how
Alright.
different it is. And feel the difference.
Yeah, another yawn. So that's, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, come back into now.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well done. So
Thanks.
that's like the fastest timeline in the West. Very good.
It was pretty interesting that. So the first 2 were lots of yawns, and then there wasn't any more yawns. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah. I'm all yawning now. I've caught your yawns.
Sorry about that, guys.
You're all right. Brilliant. Okay, so that's, I think, first of all, sorry, I'll just unpin you. Thank you so much, David, for that.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, everyone.
I think it's really important that you see things done simply. Do you know what I mean? Without without the big kind of hoo-ha. You can then ask whatever you want that you feel comfortable, that you feel is useful. But as long as you know that it can be done just as simply as, like, what's the feeling? That's a pattern? Great. Let's go. We could have done it from tension. We didn't need to ask any questions, really. We could have just done it from there. But obviously the reason when they're a stranger to ask all those questions is really so that you have a sense of the generative change that you might be getting, so this is bigger than just one thing. This might affect every area of their life. Sometimes clients don't want it to be quick because then it seems like, oh, was I stupid to have the problem then? So there's lots of reasons why you can still make it take longer. As long as you know the essence of it is, what's the issue? What's the pattern? Apply the intervention. Everything else is just for you to feel comfortable that you're going to do a good job, that you feel comfortable doing the job, and that client feels comfortable. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So shall we meet back here in 2 weeks? It's your turn.
I'll do my best.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That was really fantastic.
Oh,
Thank you,
Thanks,
David.
Thank you so
David.
much.
Thank you so much, Jess.
Thank you both. Yes.
lots of love to Charlotte.
Take
Thank you
care,
very much.
Oh, Charlotte.
I hope you get some sleep.
Enjoy your
For sure.
sleep. Yeah.
Well,
Congratulations as well.
Knock yourself out.
Thank you so much, Jess. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
Jen.
everyone.